Hello, hello, hello. We back again, hello. And this is the ABS show on MinaTV Africa. We have
Yazzie
and
Glitterati
and,
Miss Spitfire
and the Money Man. Charlie's not here with us, but he's coming back, okay? So today we're touching on something really sensitive, but I just like to say you guys look awesome. It feels good to be blessed among women, eh?
Yes,
so
yes.
do you too. You know,
Really?
this is how I like for my man to dress preppy and nice and stylish, you know, with some Chelsea boots.
Ooh.
Maybe
Maybe
finally,
your head
maybe
is
today I'll
swimming.
take you on that date that you've been bothering me for the past year.
finally.
Should I, guys?
Sure. Don't
Money
be
you're
jealous.
floating.
I'll go with you.
I
I'll
like
go
men
with
and
you.
native. When you wear native, we go out.
With pot belly, please.
No pot belly for me. Oh. I have enough stomach for me and 10 friends.
All right, all right. So we're touching one that is very sensitive today. We're talking about female genital mutilation. And I would like to introduce the topic through a recent movie that was released by Issa Rae on her Sunday episodes, and she touched on female genital mutilation. So I would like us to talk about this, and I want us to know if we support the culture, because it's a big culture in Africa, and we want to know if it should be abolished or the culture should be upheld. So what do you guys think? First of all, what's female genital mutilation?
Female genital mutilation is more like circumcision for females. It's
Okay.
where they have like different parts to it. They have 5 parts to it actually. There's a part where they cut the clitoris off. There's a part where they cut out the labia minora. There's a part where they cut out the clitoris, labia minora, and the labia majora.
Yeah.
And then there's a part where they call infibulation, where they stitch you up completely, and it's like just
Small.
a hole remaining. So
Oh my God.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
feel the pain
it's
as
really
you're talking
in
about
other
it.
words, for local language, they reduce the size of the vagina.
It kind of
Yes.
like, I think the general, it reduced the size of the vagina. The general concept behind it is to reduce the urge.
The sexual urge of the female girl, of the girl child in Africa.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then in some parts of Africa, they do it to reduce the chances of the girl being raped. Right. So
Really?
that's why they make that place really, really
But she's
small.
gonna
the
have sex
infibulation.
eventually, right?
They cut them open to actually have sex. For those that get
my God.
infibulated, they have to cut them open on their wedding night, and then when they're having babies, it's even worse. So.
Clear, you want to say something?
I feel the pain right now, like seriously.
You feel the pain?
Yes,
Were you
just
cut
by
this
what
morning?
she's like
Okay.
I've never experienced it, thank
Okay.
God.
Okay, thank
but
God.
as she's talking about it, I'm like literally squirming in my seat because I'm just like imagining it. I mean, I've given birth before, I've been stitched up before, so I'm like only imagining if my whole thing was stitched up. I couldn't imagine the pain.
But
Like,
isn't it
I
just
can't
like a
fathom
normal
it.
regular stitch of a skin when you're
First
hot?
things first. Number one, let's talk about what happens after. First of all, we don't even know what they're using is sterile. Because
Yeah.
sometimes it's unsterile.
Yeah,
So
we
these
know that.
kids get infections, severe pain, urinary tract infections that are
Right.
beyond. And you know our doctors in Africa are not sometimes equipped for some of this kind of the trauma that happens. And then when they get older, when you want to have a baby, the pain. Having sex, pain. And then there's no way for you to catch orgasm. Imagine you having sex and you can't catch an orgasm.
Wow.
Imagine that. They don't even get the pleasure of ever experiencing some of the things that other people get to experience. You just take this away from somebody.
Yeah.
Like you can't just you can't take that from somebody.
Okay. Funny enough, for a fact, I found out that this doesn't only happen in Africa, surprisingly enough. It happens in Europe. And on the census, we have about 700,000 to 1 million women who have been caught in Europe. But
Which countries?
they didn't specify it. It was a broad census. But to be still like, let's come back to the ground, it's still a tradition in many places in Africa. Some African countries, Eastern Africa, Western Africa. One of the mostly touched topic online was a country in Kenya. It was in Kenya. There's a tribe they call the Maasai. Maasai, the Maasai, the Maasai group in Kenya. But the thing is that it's a tradition. They call it a rite of passage from womanhood, from a childish lifestyle to womanhood. And there's a very big ceremony that goes on before they even cut the woman. So there's celebration, there's feasting, there's mentoring, but it's not even medically related. There's a special woman, an elderly woman, that cuts these girls with scissors, razor blades, or even broken bottles. And the painful part is these girls have been so stigmatized by the society they are in to believe that if they don't go through this circumcision, they will not be raised, they will not be brought into womanhood, and society will not accept them. To the extent that even the men in that society will not have sex with you if you haven't been circumcised. So your people, your peer groups, even your schoolmates will laugh at you and look at you as somebody that is rejected in the society. That's why we really have to talk about this topic, so we can educate people and let's know what we could do. Should this really be abolished totally, or brought down in a separate setting way, so that the society or that culture, they will know that circumcision is not the only way to transcend into womanhood?
I think we cannot take away people's rights. Like, I think
Okay.
a woman, a young girl, should get the chance to reach adulthood and be able to live her full sexual life, right? Not be her everything. First of all, urinary tract infections, menstruation
pain,
is messed up. All these different things that lead to things, and then. Who wants, like, somebody's having pain like that and you want to have sex with them? The pain is so intense. I heard that it really even just goes through your whole body, that kind of pain.
Sometimes even just peeing
Hey.
is painful
Yeah, it's
when
painful,
you have
true.
it.
Because of the
can't be like
urethra,
you
you
pee
have
like
an issue with
this.
your urethra.
It needs
Shaken.
to be, I think it needs to be abolished, completely removed. Because, and
Okay.
also sometimes some of these girls get infections to the point where the doctors can't fix it and they have an odor, a smell. So now they're shunned by the villagers because they had this smell or they have this other things going on with them just because of something you did to them. Now they have to suffer this consequence. Imagine at 10 or 12 running around and that's happening to you. You don't know where it's coming from, what's happening, and you're going through that. You can't control your pee. You can't control certain things.
Yeah.
Is it fair?
It's not fair. I actually heard that one of the reasons why they actually circumcise the girls is to prevent them from being raped.
But
Because
it
it
leads to
prevents
HIV
them from being
infections
raped.
because
Yeah,
they're
but-
so open there.
True. That's true because
STIs and HIV.
Yeah, the instruments they use in cutting them, they're not even sterilized.
How does that stop anybody from getting raped?
Well, according to the whole article, they said these ladies, when they just get circumcised, there's a process of a long time where they are separated from every other person and they are taught so many things about womanhood, and then it's a wound and it's being stitched. So for a long time, their vaginal opening is really very small. And whenever somebody or those farmers or whatever tries to rape them and finds out that that place doesn't look nice, they get irritated and they don't. So it's only your husband that knows your whole circumcision issue that finally comes to terms with the fact that he has to live with that for the rest of
See,
his
this
life.
is where I have a problem with this.
Doesn't make
The
sense.
whole concept.
Right.
If you stitch somebody up, we have sick people out there in the world today that rape 2-year-olds.
Yes.
Their vaginal hole is
So small.
is like a dud. And then you have people that are stitching up girls because they don't want them to get raped. If somebody wants to rape, they'll rape. Whether the girl's the only person that's going to suffer because he's going to force through that
Anyways.
which you've cut and still penetrate. Because remember, the whole idea of rape is on the inside. It's really not the outside of the vagina. So when you cut all that stuff out, she's still the one suffering.
Okay,
They should get rid of that law because it makes no
Yeah,
sense.
they
Even
should.
some parts in Africa, they actually relate it to Islam. Of which there's nowhere in the Quran that says that you should circumcise a female. In fact, the Quran says do not alter your body as created. So why are they doing this?
If it says do not alter your body as created, what about male circumcision? Is that not alteration as well?
Absolutely. It is. I mean, I think it should be a choice
And most
too.
girls like guys that have that circumcised fine dick, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because when it's not circumcised, that foreskin looks terrible, I'm sorry to say. I'm just saying.
Are you
know?
saying that you have seen some?
No, I'm a medic. I'm a medic, and I've been circumcised. But the thing is, there were some laws that came out in those places, especially in Kenya, far back as 2002, circumcision against the teenage child. And then some people started doing the circumcision before the ceremony so that the government would not catch them. And now they started even circumcising newborn babies.
Nice.
So it's that bad.
God forbid.
Yes, the people have to know, so they will know this is terrible. But this brings me to the question. We complain a lot about the Western culture and how they came into our continent and polluted our continent. But is it not the same Western culture that brought knowledge to us and brought this wisdom to us that these things are not normal? So to an extent, we should be grateful for civilization. Otherwise, tradition would have stayed for a longer time.
Listen,
it's a double-edged sword. How would you thank somebody then, even if they take away this culture, they're still raping our children too, right?
Yeah, but
So,
they
like,
brought civilization to us.
they did not bring civilization to us. Let's get that correct. We were
sure?
already civilized. What did they bring to us? They weren't even clean. We had to teach them how to bathe. So when you talk about civilization, it's you can't compare that.
Yeah, but they told us
We can't-
circumcision
I'm not
is
thankful.
wrong.
I'm not thankful for what they did at all, T-Man.
Because being born into that kind
Civilization.
of culture is, you know, when you are born and raised in a certain way, you get used to it, you believe that that's the norm. And then society stigmatizes you, and you believe that as a girl, if you don't do that, you're going to lose so many things. You're not going to get married, this and that. And then
First of all,
the Western
like,
culture came to help us with that.
How many places in Africa is this done at? This is not done in a lot of
Oh
places.
my God.
Exactly.
Trust
Like,
me,
let's
it's even
be-
done in
I'm
Nigeria.
not saying, okay, I'm not saying that it's not done. I'm sure it's done in Nigeria. I'm sure it's done in Ghana. But I'm saying is that what is the percentage for you to use that example as a very poor example?
No,
and
it's
for
not.
you to say
It's not a poor
something like
example.
they brought us civilization. So
Who
you're trying to say
stopped the
that we
killing
were
of
in
twins in Africa?
civilization
Mary Slessor,
before
was she
that?
African?
But it
Was
doesn't
it
mean
not
that. But it doesn't mean
Reverend
that.
sister?
Let me
So
put
these
this
people
out
came
there.
to an extent, they came and they changed a lot of things.
T-Money, I get what you're saying, but let me put this out there. Just because something was practiced in one part of Africa doesn't mean that it's the same for every part of Africa.
I know that.
Just because they were
I
killing
know.
twins and albinos in a part of Nigeria, mind you, it wasn't the whole of Nigeria that was practicing that. Doesn't mean that it goes the same for every other country.
We know
now,
that.
this circumcision thing, in as much as it's terrible, I know it's related, is tied to tradition, and I've said it on the show before, that culture and tradition transcends time.
Right.
Yes, it does. Does not mean that everything that was done back then is right. That's the reason why we have amendments. That's the reason why the laws are being amended. The same thing with tradition. There's certain things that they practiced back in the days that that doesn't make sense now, and people are
Yeah, but who
people are
brought
starting
awareness
realize
to
and they're
them? Who
taking
brought
that out.
awareness to them?
It
Who
doesn't
made
always
them
have to be a
realize that these
Western
things were not the norm?
Civilization, though. It doesn't
Okay,
mean
let me know you.
westernized
Sorry, let me know you use the word
civilization is the
civilization, but the Western culture came and influenced our
But the
culture.
thing is, not even the Western culture. It could be within Africa there. Like I said, not every part of Africa practiced that. So obviously, when you hear from somebody else, if you hear from somebody else that, oh, I didn't circumcise my child. Why would you circumcise your daughter? Where are you from? Oh, I'm from Uganda. Oh, I'm from Ghana. Oh,
Like
where I'm from, they do. Or even there in Nigeria. Oh, I'm Igbo. Some parts of Igbo, they don't. Some parts of Igbo, they do. Some parts of outside, so
You're
it
about
doesn't
to.
mean that it takes a Western person or like Western culture to bring that knowledge to us or the know-how to stop doing something like that within us. We see that there's inconsistencies in the way they actually do stuff, and they pull knowledge from them and say, okay, you know what? If they're not doing that and their mortality rate is
Influence.
high, why are we now doing it and kids are dying, man? People are dying. There are people are dying. Why are they not doing it? Let's stop that. Maybe that would help us keep our kids alive, because girls are dying from this thing.
So
The
are you
pain
guys
is
trying to tell me now that
excruciating.
in 100% that there's nothing that came from the Western culture that is okay, that we should give
Nobody's
credit?
saying
No
that.
credit.
Nobody's
Nobody's
saying
denying
that.
that,
We're
but this
not
is not
thankful
even
for
a
them.
conversation
What I'm
that is
saying
about
is,
that.
do not base it on Western culture. Do not say the
Exactly.
Western
It's
culture came and
education.
influenced us
Yeah,
in a
but who
good
brought
way. because-
education?
But who said it? But the
What was
education we
education?
had.
When
But
we
that's your
were
definition.
without
It's your
clothes,
definition.
Okay, do you
as
know that?
Africans, like a lot of people
It's
in
your
the African
definition.
continent were without clothes.
Did you? But wait, hold on.
Going
Did you
to the
know
farm
that
and
in
doing
as
other
much as
things,
they
who
had
brought
people coming
education?
over, they had
Education
people.
and Christianity came from the Western culture.
Okay, but you even had Africans go abroad to actually study. You know that, right?
I know.
Before they brought education back into Nigeria.
Where did
or
they bring
into
it
Africa.
from? From the Western culture.
It doesn't
It's the
matter.
same
The fact
thing.
is that it
From
made
the
its
East,
way
actually.
over the Atlantic and
Okay,
it
but
came
it's not from
in.
Africa.
So either way, it still would have made its way to Africa
It's a
through
culture.
our own people. Still, it doesn't have.
And
You don't have
even
to
that,
base
this
it on
education,
Western.
what is it really teaching us? Do you know that right now in 2018 in America, more African Americans are actually opting for homeschool school
yeah.
that we can
Exactly.
educate our kids what
know.
they really need to know?
Exactly.
Because what you're really being taught in school isn't
Yeah,
really
education is more than just school.
exactly.
It's
So
more than just going
what
to
is that?
school.
What
No.
education did they bring us, and how is it helping us, or how
They
is
told
it
you
better
that you
than
have to cover
what
your
we
boobs,
know?
you have to cover your sexy ass, you have to wear clothes.
We were already
That was
covering up. We
Western.
were already covering up with leaves and plants. We
Yeah,
were
and
doing
they
it in
gave
our
you
We
own
actually had
way.
clothes, but the thing is,
No, they
we
didn't give
actually had clothes. We had the ashoke. We had clothes back home.
Yeah.
What are you talking
I'm not saying
about?
we didn't have these materials
they
and
covered
resources,
themselves.
but we didn't know how to
let me-
use these
The
resources.
same people that are telling you all that are the same people that walk around with clothes almost damn near naked. So what are you talking about?
The thing I think, what you think about it when you're addressing things on this large of a scale. There's a cross-pollination that happened with ideas, with education and stuff like that. But there is no westernization. We do not have a big white savior.
No. I'm not giving them the glory. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying influence. They influenced the culture.
It was a cross-pollination.
Yeah.
Same
But
way with
everybody
influence dumb.
influences each other
Exactly.
too. You know, right now I have the sandals. I think back in Ghana we call them ohima and ahimfie. The chiefs wear it. I bought some. They cost like 35 cedis in Ghana. 35 cedis is like $10. Gucci has made the same exact sandals, made it out of leather, and you're selling it for like $1,000. Ghana must go back, which is like a $20 bag. Balenciaga has turned it into a whole high fashion thing. So it's like she said, everybody learns from each other. You can't say that they came and they made us better or because of them this, that.
No, I'm not giving them the glory, but they influenced it. Let's just be real.
Everybody came. Why does US want to have a base in Ghana? Because clearly it's beneficial for them. If it wasn't beneficial for them, they wouldn't be there. Exactly. So everybody goes back and forth with each other.
Okay.
But for me, this thing is one of those not even just African, because even in America, there are some laws that are outdated. Sure. And it's outdated because of time, because when they made those laws back then, it was okay. But now things have changed, and it's, you know, and it's the same thing with this thing. It's one of those African traditions that it's a bit outdated. It needs to be, and I personally don't know anyone that's ever, any female that has gone through this,
right?
you know, so I can't, like, I learn about it, I read about it, I watch it, but I feel like when you experience things personally, it makes it a little bit different. But my opinion, if the girl wants to do it because she wants to pay homage to her culture thing or whatever, why not? Like, you know, like if she wants to do it.
That's where education comes in.
If she wants to do it. But I don't think that it's something that you should be forced to or that every single girl should do it, especially after learning about it and reading about it. That movie, the Issa Rae's movie, like I really saw how the woman loved her husband so much, but when it came down to him circumcising her daughter, because she experienced it and she knew what that pain was like, she was like, no way, like I'll leave my husband, you know, before you do this to my daughter, you know? So for her, because she knows it, she was able to do that for her daughter. You know what I mean?
Let me ask a question, right? Do you think there's a difference circumcising a baby, a female baby, to circumcising a female child, a female girl?
Medically,
Baby girl.
Medically, there's a difference because most of the organs have not been fully developed. So if they take out the prepuce, the clitoris prepuce, the foreskin and everything, there's still chance of no harm. But that is not even the case. And secondly, the child wouldn't feel or know the pain because
So
we are
you're a
circumcised
baby.
as babies, guys too.
Right.
So the child wouldn't feel the pain or know anything about the pain. But the child will still grow up with that reduced vagina. And then there are several medical issues that will climax over time because difficulty in urination, urethral pain, you know, stuff like that. No matter how medical they want to prove circumcision, let's just say no to circumcision.
Absolutely.
Let's not forget, guys, that this is not really about the woman. It's not about her health. It's not about anything to benefit her. It's not about transitioning her into womanhood. At the end of the day, it's about a man being able to control the woman, being able to control her sexual pleasure, being able to, so that in a situation where if she doesn't know how good sex feels, that's it. If I'm not satisfying her, she won't even know. There's no reason for her to cheat, no reason for her to go to a neighbor. All I want to do is, like in that movie with Issa Rae, all he did was get on top of her, hurt her. She was miserable, and then she would just have kids. Which for a lot of men, that's all they want their woman for. Like,
So
let's be honest, that's what it is.
They want to be able to control the woman's sexual power. Wow, guys, you've heard it all. This is a very sensitive topic. We're all saying no to circumcision. So drop your comments.
Female circumcision.
Female circumcision, actually. Thank you. So tell us what you think. Drop your comments. Feel free to follow, like, and until next time, this is the ABS Show. Bye.
Thanks for watching. And if you liked this episode, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. See you next time.